Wrong spot. Almost went to the wrong spot. Almost went to the wrong spot.
This is the September the 2nd meeting of the Elizabethtown City Council. Marty Fulkerson will bring our invocation.
Let's pray. Our Father, we pause to give you thanks for all the blessings that we have. We're thankful for this city that we call home. We're thankful for the men and women that wear the city uniform and work hard each and every day to make this a great place to live. Father, we assemble today as a free nation, and we do that because there are those that are standing guard today, protecting this freedom that we get to enjoy. And Father, we remember their loved ones here at home, and we pray that you give them comfort while they wait for the safe return of their loved ones. Father, we are so blessed by your grace and your mercy. Be with us during this meeting. May all that we say and do bring glory to you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Marty. Do we have any scouts? No? Well, then will you join me in the pledge to the flag? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is the approval of minutes from the August the 18th meeting. Do I hear a motion?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Okay, we have a presentation from the Hardin County Chamber of Commerce this evening. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought she was with the chamber. Okay. From the Heritage Council, perhaps, Mr. Skees.
Mayor, councilman, my fellow citizens. At a recent downtown quarterly meeting, August 21st at the Historic State Theater Gallery, the Elizabethtown Heritage Council proudly presented Mr. Kevin Addington with the yearly award for Most Improved Property for the location of 3234 Public Square. The Charles W. Logston Downtown Walking Tour finished the month of August with 45, 90, 80, 35 for an approximate total of 250. Just for a note, last year's August total was approximately 160 tour participants with 5 not 4 Thursdays. A busy summer for the tour. The Thursday Tavern in the Garden event at the Brown Pusey House is progressing nicely with 70 to 90 participants for each event. Live music, food, and drink are featured there. The August 2nd Saturday event was hampered somewhat by the dampening effects of the rain, ladies and gentlemen. All are invited out for the second Saturday coming up. This event on September 13 will feature the Via Colore Street Painting Festival with numerous artists, music stages, and vendors. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in downtown Elizabethtown, ladies and gentlemen. Meetings are taking place at this time for the planning for the October 2nd Saturday, which will include the Zombie Fest and the Nightmare on the Square. Friends, please take time to visit the shops, cafes, local businesses, and historic sites in downtown. Bread and Bagel just opened at the Old Vault Deli location. Kickin' Jay's is now open next to Kentucky Art Lady. Sugar Fashion Cake always has sweet events going on. Roxy's Restaurant is now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A lot of welcomed renovation is in progress. While the old Sign of the Lion Inn is undergoing work by Larry Green and his wife, Icon Engineering has met with the Planning Commission for preservation and plan to renovate the facade on the old Marshall building. Work is progressing at the former Town and Country location mentioned by Kevin Addington. Labor is in progress at the former City Planning Office location by the Claggett family. Downtown Elizabethtown, ladies and gentlemen, the metamorphosis proceeds. Any questions?
That's great. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Mr. Skees. Okay, we have a State Theater update. Emily?
Follow that.
No, I feel like we should clap or something. I mean, gosh, I hate.
Work with Mary to get in front of him.
Ladies and gentlemen, no, I don't know. Nobody can do it like Charlie. So, September is a very exciting month, nonetheless. My speech skills for the State Theater. Next weekend, we are going to have, this is going to be the second year that the award-winning barbershop group, the Kentucky Vocal Union, will be performing. That is sponsored and presented by the Elizabethtown Rotary Club, and that will be next Saturday, September the 13th at 7:30. But prior to the concert, if you would like to attend the Taste of Guatemala, so I know Mr. Bob Swope arranges for a lot of restaurants around Hardin County to each prepare a dish, and you get to sample different Taste of Guatemala prior to the show. So that starts at 5:30. There is one ticket price of $30 that gets you both the tasting as well as the concert. So it's a great night. I'm already having a lot of phone calls for people who went last year. So also, the following weekend, which is September 19th and 20th, we will be featuring the Indiana Jones trilogy. This is just the first three. A lot of folks, there is a fourth, but we will not be showing the fourth. Got horrible reviews and was just made a few years ago. So, the trilogy will include Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade. So again, that's September 19th and 20th. And finally, to end out September, the 50s and 60s group, the Monarchs, will be performing on Saturday, September the 27th at 7:30 as well. So very fun group. And then just a preview for October. Some of the things I have coming are Daniel Martin Moore in concert on October 3rd, and then also some of the Boris Karloff, very, very classic horror films, including The Mummy and Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein will also be featured, in addition to our annual classic movie showing of The Ghost and Mr. Chicken with Mr. Don Knotts, of course. So, okay.
Emily, are there any original members left in the Monarchs?
Maybe one. Okay, I know. I mean, they're a group of 7, and I know it's one of those groups that, I mean, they've been around for many, many years, and
they played in my senior prom.
Oh.
Many
Well, that was just a couple years ago. So yeah. But
they're still surviving.
So yeah.
Do you have any questions?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Dr. Mormon, you're up.
It's hard to follow all that. Thanks for letting us talk to you. There are a bunch of us here tonight to address the question that was proposed to you, or the request that was proposed to you all in May regarding the closure of Woodland Drive by Hart Memorial Hospital in the county. So, as you know, we've been privileged to meet with you, Mayor, and Charlie. We've met with the county judge and a number of people several times here, actually, and in my office, to discuss the proposal as it was proposed at that time. We think there's some huge disadvantages to that. Now, I can put a map up here in just a minute. We think there are two problems, and the problem involves the city and involves the county. And the group that we've been meeting with realize that both of these groups have needs, and that these needs, we hope, can be met by working together. Let me just show you this map. I messed this up.
There we go.
Can the lights go down? As it is proposed, I don't have a pointer. This is Dixie Highway.
Here's a pointer if you want a pointer.
Oh.
Man, here's his own pointer.
Thanks. This Dixie Highway here. Can you hear me? Cardinal Drive comes in here. The thing that's changed a great deal is that now you have Patriots Highway, Patriots Parkway coming in here, and it comes in from a nice 4-lane highway into a very narrow area, which is the narrowing of Cardinal Drive, and that's a problem for the city. It has been a problem for a very long time. And the drawing here and the rendering here is showing how the city and the state have worked together to fix that. The problem, as you all know, is that the hospital, through the county, has asked
and basically demanded, in order to get this part here to complete that expansion, that you close Woodland Drive at this point. This is the building of Dr. Yoon and Dr. Wolf. This is the dialysis building, I believe. This is the old cardiology building. This is a very narrow street, and I believe it's named Long. This is a Mercer Street up here. Without providing better access from the west, when you close it here, you're going to create a lot more congestion through these two streets that are really not designed to take high volume traffic from the west. When you close this area also, you create a problem with people who are coming up from the south. How are they going to get to the Woodland Drive area? It's been proposed they come in here at Lehman Lane. The problem is they're going to be turning left against southbound traffic that really gets pretty heavy at a number of times. Also, people coming out of Woodland are going to have to come out here and turn left against southbound traffic and northbound traffic to go north. And that is a problem intersection. We've met with the state in this office, Patty, I can't remember Patty. Dunaway, and she's talked to us at that time at least about a light there. And they gave us an indication at that time, Charlie, if I remember right, that they would require about 700 feet between lights. From Lehman Lane up to the next light, which is up at Kent Towers, there's 1,300 feet. I've walked it. From Wendy's up to this place is about 1,600 feet. I've walked it as well. So I know that there's at least the 700 feet, if that's what is accurate, that she's told us is required, it is present. So we think at this point there are other solutions that probably haven't been explored completely that might be better for the long term. It's natural, we think, for the hospital probably to expand in this area. I mean, they're hampered. They can't go this way. They really can't go terribly far above this way unless they purchase all this. They've naturally been purchasing this area in here, which is a logical way to expand. And over the next 20 or 30 years, I would envision that they're going to expand this way farther as the hospital does grow. I don't know how big the hospital will eventually be. I don't think anyone can predict that. But as the new healthcare takes shape, it wouldn't surprise me to see the hospital not only grow in emergency room needs, but to grow in bed needs. So it would be logical to me for them to expand towards the west. And they evidently think that as well because they've been purchasing one by one property as it becomes available in this area. I'm happy to answer questions, by the way. But anyway, we would ask that you at this time vote not to close Woodland as this plan is presented and look at an alternative plan that would open up from the west and from the south. So that's what I would like to present. We have other people in the room here with us tonight that might like to speak. Would that be okay, Mayor?
Sure.
Anyone? Do you want this off? This is Tom Bierman.
Thank you. My name is Tom Bierman, and I'm here to represent Tailor-Made Assisted Living, which is located right on Mercer, at the intersection of Mercer and Woodland. Represent Tailor-Made, our 11 residents and the families, and my wife, Debbie, who owns and operates Tailor-Made Assisted Living. I need to tell you her story real quickly. She wants to be here because of health issues, cannot. But a year after we got married, she started her career in the elderly care business. So she had about 16 years of knowing what it's all about, what's good about it, what needs to be fixed, and she wanted her opportunity to do that, and it presented itself in 2002. She was offered the opportunity to get involved, well, take over the assisted living facility that was there, with the idea that she would ultimately buy it if she could. That same year, I embarked on a new career and jumped in a big truck and covered 48 states. She made the turnaround, got it on its feet, and eventually bought the business the same year. The following year, the opportunity presented itself to buy the building. Again, folks, I'm on the road, and she did this all by herself, sold to banks, and she bought Tailor-Made Assisted Living and the building in 2003. And that's a going little concern, and we're awfully, awfully proud of it. echoing what the doctor said, the traffic on Mercer is too much as it is. And with more traffic coming down 316, extension of Cardinal, and if you close off Woodland Drive, it's going to, sure as I'm standing here, they are going to come up and down Mercer Street. And it's going to be, and this is all from a selfish point of view. I tried to see as hard as I could from everybody else's point of view, but I guess it's just too close to me. But when the opportunity came in our little meetings over this situation about let's see what the residents think, the residents of that neighborhood. So we got together, and on, I think it was August the 2nd at 10 o'clock on a nice Saturday morning, we went door to door. And folks, I haven't been door to door since 1959 when I had a newspaper route and didn't know what to expect. But I was hoping to find some support from my point of view or our point of view. I was not only pleased, I was astonished. I was assigned, what road goes up in Vermont?
Deepwood
Deadwood, no, Deepwood, excuse me. First 24th Street, homes on Deepwood, and Dr. Mormon took the rest of the street because he's in better shape than I am. We knocked on the door. I got 24 homes, 12 people were not there, and I got to present my ideas or my situation to 12 people, and I not only got 11 signatures out of that 12, I got 11 enthusiastic signatures saying, don't close Woodland. They were astonished. Now, 11 out of 12, and I'm sure we have more statistics. I don't know what the final statistics on ours, but mine is 11 out of 12, and they were flabbergasted. So, for my wife and Taylor Maid, we're just asking you to really reconsider. It's got to be a better solution than closing Woodland. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I say, you know, the proposal wasn't to close Woodland, it's changing access, right? I mean, you understand we're not closing down. The proposal was not to close down Woodland Drive. Closing means no access.
That access will end up coming
It
over.
was change of access is what it really is.
I forgot. Yeah, this is 1900.
Sure.
We've collected petitions. Underway. This is 1900 signatures. I wish I could tell you everybody's address. Some people signed it in the offices they were located, and some people signed it in homes, like they went from home to home. Some people signed it in our offices and in nursing homes and in the physical therapy areas. So it represents a number of people that come into the area to do business, to see their loved ones in nursing homes, and a variety of things. I wish I could tell you they're all D-Town city residents. They're not. They're people come from other counties and farther down.
Did you have anybody else?
Anyone else want to speak?
Could we turn the lights back on?
Oh, yeah, are you through with, can we turn the lights back on?
Sir.
Turn this on.
Hi, I'm Catherine Edmonds from Elizabethtown Nursing and Rehab, and changing the access of Woodland to come down Lehman Lane into Dixie, I think there's got to be a better option than that. It's already hazardous as it is for our employees and the EMS staff and the residents and all of their families that come in and out of our facility on a daily basis. And just putting more traffic on that little bitty road is going to create a lot of problems. It's going to put residents of not only our facility but of E-Town and the surrounding areas in jeopardy of all the traffic. It's not, that road can't handle it, and it's too short of a distance. And I know hospital employees and our employees that cross Woodland Road right there walking, it's dangerous as it is, and then you're going to put more traffic there. And
Are you saying Lehman
Mhm.
Lane? Is that the road you're talking about?
It is, yes, Lehman Lane.
Where
that
do you all's employees park at right now?
we park right on the side of Lehman Lane.
Okay.
That's where our
Up
parking
next
lot
to the
is.
hall.
And we also have some parking that is in the hospital parking that's up across Woodland as well.
So when you pull out of your parking, you're pulling out onto Lehman Lane?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes.
And
And
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the business that you were,
Elizabethtown Nursing and Rehab.
okay.
And we have ambulances, EMS coming in and out a lot, and it's busy enough. We don't want our residents, our employees, or any of the family members affected by this negatively. So we just ask that y'all vote no for right now and think of other solutions to this area.
You have any ideas on those solutions?
No,
I mean, I know that some of us have some ideas that we've kicked around and we've presented and tried to do some due diligence. And I guess I asked that question to the group as a whole. If you all have some suggestions of ideas that maybe the council has not heard, I'd kind of like to hear what maybe some of them are. And I mean, they don't have to be, they don't have to be, fully formulated or anything like that. They can be what-if scenarios as far as I'm concerned.
I know Dr. Mormon has some ideas that he's presented that I think a lot of people are in agreement that would be a lot better than this route proposed right now.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, I'd like to see. Go ahead. All right.
Is this okay, Mayor?
I'm sorry.
Is this okay, Mayor?
Yeah, let's don't go beyond 5. Is that okay? Is that enough time, do you think, for everybody?
I'll be very brief. My name is Ike Boutwell. I appreciate the opportunity for listening to my thoughts on this. I own the Movie Palace Theater, which is slightly north of the aerial photo you had here. I would like to bring to your attention, and I'm sorry I don't have a solution, as you would ask. My parking lot runs from Woodland Drive to Dixie Highway. We have a fair amount of traffic coming through my parking lot as it is. I can see, unless we do something to relieve, I'm going to have an awful lot of traffic coming through my parking lot. The point I want to make is children. On afternoon matinees, we have a lot of children. Believe it or not, we have about 15,000 customers on a good weekend at the Movie Palace Theater. Cars coming through there, if it gets to be a steady thing with some speed, I really feel there's a problem. Either I'm going to have to block off my access or something. And what I'm saying is, I would like to say I'm very concerned about the safety of children at the movie theater by limiting access to Woodland. And thank you.
Gary, before you speak, let me ask you a question. Dr. Mormon or Mr. Skeeters, how did you all learn that the city was thinking about closing Woodland?
I got a phone call from my son-in-law the day you all were having the meeting, or the day before you all were having the meeting.
So the folks on Woodland didn't know anything about it till we were getting ready to vote for it?
I'm the son-in-law, and I learned about it in the newspaper.
I guess that's my question, Charlie. Why that's going to affect these folks on that street, and we're going to vote that night on closing the road. How come we didn't notify anybody on that street to get some input from the public?
I don't know that, I don't recall specifically, but I don't know that you were
We weren't
required to do any voting. That was a presentation from the.
Yeah, we
I don't think we were asked.
Presentation.
Maybe we're going to vote that night, but
And remember, we asked the folks from the hospital, and they said that they had contacted Doctors Wolf, Yoon, Patel, who they felt were directly affected. And that's the answer we were given.
They did not contact anybody else, as far as I know, they have not yet contacted anybody else but those folks.
Right, because that's what they told us, that they felt those were the ones who would be directly affected.
Although they did come to one of our meetings with the mayor and county judge.
Right.
But still, this was after.
After the fact.
After the.
Yeah.
I know I found about it from Don Skeeters. He called me the day of the meeting, and I'm in the Wolf and Young building, and I knew nothing about it until the meeting when you presented it. I'm Gary Ham with Apothecary Pharmacy, and I'll just keep my comments real brief. Dr. Mormon presented this real eloquently. I don't think I can add a whole lot more to what he said. The only thing I would like to add is thank the council for spending so much time to research this. To me, it's been a very challenging and frustrating process. I've talked to some of the council members, some people at the county and state level, and it kind of seems to me that not necessarily at the council level, but at other levels, there's no willingness to entertain other options. It's almost like this is the plan we've come up with, and this is just what we have to do. In the same point, I would also like to emphasize that it's not only about the businesses, it's about the patients. It's about the patients that come to the pharmacy, the doctor's office, the patients in the nursing homes and their families, and it's also the whole community. Hopefully we can reach some kind of compromise that works well for everyone. Like I'd mentioned at one of the meetings, that we should be developing Woodland Drive as a medical community that attracts people from which it already does attract people from surrounding counties, but just to make it the best access and easy to find and that works for the patients coming from out of the community. There is not a day that goes by that 2 or 3 people don't walk into both my pharmacies on Woodland Drive and ask me where their doctor's office is, because it's just hard to navigate. The other thing I would just like to emphasize is that Woodland Drive is becoming more congested. I know Patty Dunaway said that she felt like people would come up Ring Road and access Woodland Drive that way. Well, they're building 2 big businesses down there that are going to span from Buford, which is one entrance, all the way up to Woodland, that's another entrance. They're going to have accesses to those roads, it's my understanding, in addition to Ring Road. So that would just add more congested to an already congested road. And I would just like to finish that I'm all for this new road, but my business just can't be for it in its present form. And I've been even willing to compromise with the Lehman Lane Avenue would not really be good. A light there and rerouting that road down Lehman would still not be good for my one store that's in the Wolf and Yun building. And thank you all again for listening to us and all of our options and considerations, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
There's a lady in the back. You've been trying to get up, haven't you? Don't be shy. Come on up here.
I've held spoon 28 years. So my name is Joyce Josie, and I live at 315 Mercer Street. The traffic on Mercer Street is, it's awful right now. One day, not long ago, back in July, within an hour, I counted like 75 cars that came down Mercer Street, and they were flying just like they were on Dixie. So I am praying that they don't close Woodland Drive, because there's already been 2 accidents on just Mercer Street because of the traffic. And I tell you, I would appreciate it very much if they don't, because Mercer Street is going to be terrible, worse.
Thank you,
Thank
Joyce.
Thank you.
My name is Don Skeeters. I may have to put these sunglasses on because I have some trouble reading, and they do have readers in them, and I failed to bring my readers. So I'm not trying to go incognito in the middle of talking to you. I would echo everything that's been said to you. All of us on Woodland recognize the importance of a hospital. I would hope that you and others recognize the importance of the business community on Woodland Drive and how important it is to the hospital. Although it may be a dominant relationship with the hospital, it is certainly one that the hospital needs to foster. because of all of the medical providers that are on Woodland Drive. In addition to that, we have 2 nursing homes, we have a church, we have a movie theater, a very active movie theater he just told you about. We have a very large physical therapy practice, along with all of the various physicians. And you have a relatively good size residential community that you're hearing that the intended closure of the south end of Woodland is going to strongly impact what is already very strong traffic on those residential streets. It would seem to me that the plan presented by the hospital took into consideration one party, Hardin Memorial Hospital. It did not in any way, shape, or form take into consideration the rest of Woodland Drive, which is the major party being deterred by this proposal. They have never ever, as I said a minute ago, truly spoken with or reached out to anyone on Woodland Drive except the owners of those 2 buildings that are immediately behind the hospital. You ask, when did I find out, or when did any of us? I did read the newspaper article in December, but I've reached the age that I'm getting to go to Florida for the winter. And so off to Florida I went for the winter. But while in Florida, I made an appointment to meet with the people at the hospital that I was directed to by that newspaper article on the very day that I got home. So the first time I had any discussion with anybody about this issue was in early April of this year. And I got told pretty perfunctorily what the hospital was going to do. They weren't there to listen to anything that I had to say. They were there to tell me this is what they were going to do. I didn't get any feeling that they wanted to have any give and take about how this was going to take place. Now, I want to end by simply giving you some points as to why I think that this council should do right. That's an old joke in the legal community in Hardin County. Judge Speedy Halbert, most of you may not even remember Speedy, but he earned his nickname honestly if you know him. And Speedy, when the lawyers and the judge were having difficulty with drafting the jury instructions, like to say, let's just give them a do right instruction. And that's simply what it was, do right. And I say to you, you need to do right. And do right in this case means that everybody takes a big deep breath, backs up, and this whole issue is analytically looked at and determined what needs to be done. Because this is, to me, it's just like the hospital says, we're on top of this pile and we're going to dump over the side of the pile onto all the rest of you that are adjacent to our pile. That's Woodland Drive, that's Mercer, that's Long, that's Hill, that's the movie theater, you name them. All the various streets feeding into there are going to be dramatically affected by what the hospital has said. This is best for us as a hospital. I would suggest to you, you can do right because we believe the hospital has options that they can do that does not require them to spend some $14 million to gain 10 emergency room beds. That's our understanding. They have vacant space in that hospital that they can use on a temporary basis if they need rooms. We also understand from talking to people that have been active in hospital administration that they can make better use of their urgent care facilities. The urgent care facilities are not overrun as they would suggest their emergency room is. And investigation might tell you why that is. I'm going to put on the glasses. Can't see this. I guess lastly, I would say to you that I think you as a council need to stand up not only for your city and this particular area, but for yourselves. The Cardinal Drive project is project number 1. The addition of an emergency room to Hardin Memorial Hospital is project number 2. In reality, one has nothing to do with the other except for Hardin Memorial Hospital wanting to stick it out to Woodland Drive when they could do other things. If any of the rest of us on Woodland came to you and said, we want you to close Woodland Drive so we can build our building closer to the street, we would not get past Ed Pope. We all know that. You can't do that. It's a blatant violation of the city's zoning and planning requirements for them to do that. You must not allow them to make your Cardinal Drive proposition dependent on the closing of Woodland Drive. You must require them to make that hard decision. Right now, they're trying to make you make the hard decision. All right? You need to say to them, we're not going to close Woodland Drive. Put the ball in Hardin Memorial Hospital's court. I would suggest to you that at that point in time, the board of directors of Hardin Memorial Hospital are very, very likely to say, fine, you can go across our surface parking lot and build Cardinal Drive.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, you all, let me tell you something. Everybody up here has spent a great deal of time. I'm going to tell you, and we're not close to voting, making decision or whatever, but everybody's feelings have been considered. You've delivered a couple of my grandbabies. Gary, you're my pharmacist. Connie, you're my eye doctor. I have 16 grandchildren, so you know I've spent a lot of time at your cinema. You know, we all used Woodland Drive, every one of us. So I'm going to tell you, this isn't a decision that when the time comes that anybody's going to make lightly. Trust me. I trust all of us. But we're not, I mean, nobody has said, okay, we're going to vote next week or next month or, okay? So rest and.
We would like to thank you for allowing us to come here and talk to you.
Thank you all.
We would like to thank you for coming to the office and meeting with us there and meeting with us here. I think any or all of us would be willing to work with the city and the county. To be honest, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the city and the county and the state to do something that's going to enhance this community for the next 20, 30 years. And we've done great things in this community. This ballpark that we've built, it's a great addition. I would think this would be an opportunity to do something similar by enhancing the transportation that problems that you've heard about. So there won't be a problem on the next 20. So thank you very much.
Thank you all. Oh, yeah.
Dr. Morton, did you have somebody said that you had some alternatives? Do you have those on the map?
I have a suggestion, and I haven't talked to everybody here. I can't speak for everybody sitting here.
Okay. Somebody had said, I think when Terry asked for solutions or something like that, somebody said that you had a couple.
I can show you if you want to do that. If you would rather do that.
Quick. Can you do it real quick?
Yes, he could do it real quick.
He's here.
And this is just an idea from one person, okay? I cannot speak for the rest of the people here. But as I look at this, and I've told you, the hospital over the next 20 years probably is going to expand in this direction. They've already started purchasing property. If you had a good connector from Dixie somewhere along this way, straight over here to Cardinal Drive someplace, you would take that traffic that's coming right in here from those 4 lanes and be narrowed and direct them quickly to the Dixie area, somewhere along either this corridor or this corridor. You're going to have to take more houses if you do that. That's a more expensive solution, but it may well be the best solution for 20, 30 years down the road than doing something short. I've talked with individual council members regarding, and the hospital also, about they wanted a short road and coming in here, maybe. I think that's not a bad idea short time, But long-term, it's going to hamper the hospital's expansion projects, our plans, I would imagine. So I don't think long-term that will be an answer to their solution, although they're the ones that proposed placing some type of connector in this area that would go through that building or certainly through that parking lot. I don't view that as a long-term solution. Something coming up through here along the Lehman Lane access might work. You'd have to purchase homes in this area. You're going to have residents that are going to be upset about that, certainly. But 20, 30 years down the road, what's the best solution to the area? I don't have a crystal ball, but I think blocking this off here, as you've heard from the people behind me, at this present time is not a good solution. But we're willing to work with the state, the county, and the city for the betterment of the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Electronic.
And you all are welcome to stay if you want. Our next order of business is the reading of ordinance number 16, 2014, amending the official zoning map for property located at 101 and 103 Gallery Place from residential 4 to commercial 3. Motion to read the ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, as a second reading in summary, this is ordinance number 16, 2014, ordaining the change of the official zoning map for the property located at 101 and 103 Gallery Place from residential 4 to commercial 3. This action is being taken pursuant to a request by Warm Blessings for this property. This was read the first time on August the 18th, 2014.
Thanks, DP. This is a roll call vote starting with,
Wait, second motion.
oh yeah, motion to adopt the ordinance.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. Now, this is a roll call vote starting with council membership.
Yes.
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 Was that everybody?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, great.
Well, he's excited to vote.
I thought I heard 4 yeses.
Okay. Municipal order number 49, 2014, authorizing a contract for appraisal services, KHLCF, from Cornerstone Appraising in the amount of $1,750 and Vance Mosley in the amount of $3,000. Motion to read the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
At a regular meeting of the City Council of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, held on the date set out below, a motion to read and adopt the following municipal order was duly made, seconded, and approved. Whereas the City of Elizabethtown was awarded a grant by the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation Fund Board in June 2014, and whereas the city has solicited proposals for the appraisal of the land proposed to be purchased under the guidelines of the grant agreement, now be it ordered that the City of Elizabethtown authorizes contracts for appraisal services with Cornerstone Appraising in Louisville, Kentucky, in the amount of $1,750, and with Vance Mosley of Hyden, Kentucky, in the amount of $3,000 for the proposed Buffalo Lake land purchase through the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation Fund under the terms and conditions of the request for proposals and in compliance with all the standards and requirements of the grant agreement. Be further ordered that the mayor of the city and or her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this order. Read, adopted, and approved this the second day of September 2014.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Now, do you all want to talk to Ed about this?
I
before
just
we?
had a quick question on that. Did we not have any local appraisers bid on that, or was this, or did they have to be on this list of the KHLCF?
They have to be on the state list. There is, Rick Baumgardner is on the list, but he actually is the listing agent on the property, so he's prohibited from giving us a proposal. I think there's 50 companies statewide that are on the state list that we sent the request to. And on the next item, the legal services, I think there's 20 firms statewide that are on their list. So yes, it's dictated to the city who we can even ask, because they have to be pre-qualified by the state.
And since they're all on the same list, then just take the lowest bid.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Ed. Okay, motion to adopt.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
At a regular meeting, oh, we're going to stick on here.
Municipal order number 50.
Jumping the gun a little bit. I know, I'm ready. I'm like to shoot out the gate there, okay?
Charlie, you need Elmore, would you?
Now we're going to get to read number 50, 2014, authorizing the contract for title services, KHLCF, from Pitt and Frank in the amount of $900. Motion to read.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Now, again, at a regular meeting of the City Council of Elizabethtown, Kentucky, held on the date set out below, a motion to read and adopt the following municipal order was duly made, seconded, and approved. Whereas the City of Elizabethtown was awarded a grant by the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation Fund Board in June 2014, and whereas the city has solicited proposals for legal services related to the land proposed to be purchased under the guidelines of the grant agreement, now be it ordered by the City of Elizabethtown that it authorizes a contract for title services from Pitt and Frank of Louisville, Kentucky, in the amount of $900 for the proposed Buffalo Lake land purchased through the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation Fund under the terms and conditions of the request for proposals and in compliance with all the standards and requirements of the grant agreement. Be it further ordered that the mayor of the city and or her designate be and she is hereby authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to perfect this order. Read, adopted, and approved this the second day of September 2014.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Motion to adopt.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Municipal Order Number 51, 2014, approving professional services agreement with Wright Consulting Associates Incorporated for sound system design at State Theater.
Mayor, before you ask for a vote on reading that order and adopting that order, I spoke with you briefly before the meeting about some concerns that I had and some things that I think that we ought to look at. I also asked Jeff, and I told you that I was going to do that, if he could gather some information and figures on what the council has spent on the theater. Jeff, do you have that? Mayor, could you don't have it? Okay. Again, will you have that during the meeting, Jeff, or?
No, this is the
Not
last
this
item
meeting.
on the meeting.
Okay. I know we spent quite a bit, and I know we discussed this at our informal meeting. I also feel, and I guess I'm not having second thoughts, but I had some concerns when we brought this up for discussion. But if we go ahead with this design, I think that is a commitment, Emily. I mean, I think that we are committing on our part. So it's not just spending the money to do that. That's a huge commitment on behalf of the council. And I'm not saying that we should not do that. I just think that we might be, I don't know how to say it, putting the cart before the horse if we don't. Number one, how are we going to get, the figure I've heard is maybe in the vicinity of 100,000, more than that possibly, 75 to 100. And I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed. I just think that's a big jump. And in the past, I can recall several items that were in the figure of $1,500 to $2,000 that we have debated and debated and debated, yet we're considering it. And I think if we go ahead with the design, and I told this to the mayor, that if we go ahead with that, then if I voted for that, I'm committed to that. I would just like to step back just a little bit. And first of all, with that being a big ticket item, see if we are making that commitment and see if there are alternatives to help pay for it. I don't know, Emily, or anybody. I don't know whether we would get money from the State Theater group or the barbecue thing. Again, I'm just looking at the dollar. I don't know how else to say that. And would there be another way that we could help pay? And finally, would we have to do a budget amendment? Because I don't know where we would get I don't know where we would get the 100,000 without going into reserves. And I guess in order to sum this up, and I did tell this to the mayor, so I'm not opposed to it. I'm not at all opposed to it. I just think we ought to take a very cautious approach, more than saying, okay, we're going to do this and mean we're going to approve it. I would like, and I think I will make a motion that we step back a second, table this, and have some thought where we're going to get the money to pay for it if we go ahead with the design group, and is this the direction that we need to go? That's not saying I'm against it, but I am going to make a motion, Mayor, that we table this until we step back and take a look at it and decide where the money's going to come from, and are we making that firm commitment if we go?
Ron, I'll second that. I'll second that motion.
Okay. My concern, and I just didn't have time to check out this Wright Consulting, because I think we're talking about a lot of money. And if this body does commit to that, we gotta make sure this firm can do it right, because I would have thought in the $3.8 million that we spent over here that we would have got the sound system right.
Well, and I too.
And we need to
Terry
get it
touched
right.
on
We did.
Yeah.
Well, and the
but we
thing
did.
that I'm
Right,
concerned
that's
with
why I
is
gotta make
that
sure we do it right this time.
if we were to take this out of the mayor contingency balance, it was about 25% of our
That's right.
fund balance, and that's the point I made when we had our discussion on it. Since then, I've also heard some comments from our community that said, wait a minute, that's not what the way the State Theater was supposed to have been restored. The State Theater was supposed to have been restored to be like the State Theater and maybe not a new modern type concert hall. I don't have any problem with it either. It's just that I do think that maybe a little more due diligence is the route that we should take on this.
The,
And I
the
agree.
State
That's-
Theater was built we knew it was gonna be a multi-use facility. And so what we have to do, I think what we did was in that sound system, we made sure somebody could speak on it.
Right.
When in reality, from calling some sound people that certainly are smarter than I am, they said really what you do is you go in and do it to be able to do music right, because then you can hear a speaker and the movies are okay. Is it the surround sound that you get at Ike's Place? No. But that's, I think we
I agree.
probably did it backwards, so that's why we need to make sure we do it right. I think.
And again, I go back to Terry to agree with, this is a major item. I mean, we're
Well,
talking about.
I would feel more comfortable about it if we were late in the fiscal year to where we had that balance left over in our contingency balance instead of at the very beginning.
very
of the
beginning,
fiscal year.
And I
Right.
agree, I think that's what it was, Terry, what caught me is we're 3 months, I guess, into the start. And I would
Well-
much rather it been a little further along if we knew it was there.
Here's the thing about it, no matter if we do it now or do it later, it's kind of like pay me now or pay me later, because from I understand from Ed, when they renovated the State Theater, one of the things they didn't put the money into was the sound system. That was, they bought the low end of it. But then the problem is, we keep telling Emily, do more, do more, do more. If we're going to expect her to do more and have a successful facility, then we're going to have to give her the tools to do that. And I think this is a step in the right direction, because in this, basically, if I understand it correctly, this is to see what we do need. Isn't that correct or not?
But
we're not
I agree, but
we're
I
not
think,
actually putting in a system. We're actually just seeing what is going to work best. And I think that is the first step, wouldn't it be? Yeah.
but I think we all agree that if we go that step, we're committing to do that. And I mean, I know it's design. The other thing, and again, I know I speak for everybody, and I agree with you, Councilman Lewis. We all have a commitment to the State Theater, and we have spent a lot of money, very much. We even increased the budget amount, from up to $75,000 this year. But we have a commitment there,
And my feeling is that all of us want to support the State Theater, and we all
Absolutely.
think this is eventually going to have to be done.
It's good.
It's just now it's a matter of timing, and we're on the front end of a new fiscal year. And I think we would all feel more comfortable if we were on at least the midway point or the back end of the fiscal year. I know that goes along against your plans, because I know that you had a timeline on when you wanted to have this done. But I agree that with the motion that's on the table now and with the second, and I believe that it's something that requires some more.
Step back and see where we're at. That's my concern is it's a bunch of money.
And I am in favor of eventually doing it. I think it's just a point of timing.
Okay, so
Motion is.
I'm sorry.
Would you be okay if I went ahead and the State Theater paid for just the design consultation?
Again, as I indicated, Emily, from my concern,
Right. Well, I mean, I'm just paying for the design.
right.
After the design is finished, then we can go to the next.
But I think if we do that, again, the 15,000 would be easy for us to approve. But what I'm saying, I think that's a commitment on our part. If we do that, then if we're not going to do it, why do the design thing? I'm saying that is a commitment, and whether you pay for that or the State Theater pays for it, or whether somebody's got to come up with $100,000.
But how do we know how much money it's going to cost us until we do this step right here to find out what we need?
Well, I think from the consultants, you've kind of gotten a preview.
We've got a
Okay,
feel.
you've gotten a movie preview of what your expense.
It's
He
gonna be.
hasn't got the details mapped out, but he knows in the ballpark what it's going to cost.
But we do.
Why did you choose Wright Consulting Associates? You know, and I look through here, and some of these people they work with, obviously East 91st Street, a church up in Indianapolis is huge, and I called up there, and their person's no longer there that works with them, and so they were trying to find me someone. As I look down through here, because of what they worked with, that is so different than what we've got.
That's very true.
He does have a lot of experience with other historical properties, though, and he's very familiar with the historical preservation guidelines that you do have to follow for a historical property. And I know Mr. Shipp had mentioned changing the design, you know, from what was originally intended to now. That is not what I want to do, or not what Mr. Wright wants to do at all anyway. We are going to try our very, very best to maintain the same look for the theater. If we were to install curtains, they're going to be retractable so that you can still see the artwork. If we install sound panels, they're going to be custom colored to exactly match the wall color that is there now. We have no intentions of covering up the artwork in any way. It's simply going to be an enhancement. But he does, like I said, he does have a lot of experience with historical properties. If you would like more references, I'm sure we could get them. He's
I would
very
for those
experienced. Okay.
Historical properties.
Okay. Okay.
And you, I would ask that you, regardless of what we do, that you go ahead and get those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
But if this is something that you're wanting to do, having absolutely nothing to do with us, then can we?
I mean, I'm just.
We're authorized to tell her. I mean, then
She's got her budget as she wants to do it.
Right. So
I mean, he's gonna. It'll be another. You know, like I said, I mentioned last time when we talked, it would be about another $2,000, $2,000 to $2,500 that I will pay him just to come down, spend the day, to just design where the curtains would go, what kind of speakers would be best for the property.
But I thought,
So you're not
I thought we were talking
talking
about
about the
15.
15,900 that we were asked to approve.
I'm not sure where
If this is a, if,
15,900.
I will tell you, I don't have $15,000.
That's what I thought you were.
No, I may have $2,000 for the
Yeah, we thought you were saying that.
15, yeah.
The 15,000 is a complete from design all the way through construction. So what Emily is asking for is just do the front end design and not all the way through.
So it's not going to cost 100,000. It's going to cost 15,900.
No. We're going to hire this. What's on the table is to hire the consultant to start from design all the way through the end of construction, so that he's there to make sure the sound panels are installed correctly, they're in the right spot, the curtains are the right things. These are typical.
This is just the consultant fees only. This is not the installation or the product.
But what you're seeing on that proposal are the different aspects of what his design is going to be. So I think the first design number that Emily is hoping to spend isn't 2,500. I think it's about 4,300.
4420.
4420. I was
Okay.
close.
Do you have that?
So
You're thinking 2,000.
So is the 4420 going to come out of the 15,900?
Out of the 15.
yes, it would come out of that 15. That 4420 is getting it to, okay, we need to get an estimate on how much it's going to cost to install this type of system.
that gets
So-
it ready to bid?
Yes, that gets it from design to ready to bid.
So
It's
you
that
have the money to
4420.
pay that
And so the,
yourself.
44.
I don't know if I have.
And I know you all are concerned about when the money's going to be spent. We can actually set the contract up if we want to. We can go ahead and hire Wright Consulting, or we can look at other consultants too. They're not the only consultant out there. We'll have to go to Chicago, or I know there's a couple of good ones in Chicago. I'm not sure Nashville or Atlanta, or any of those have good consultants. We can go find other consultants to look at this as well. Wright just knew the project. He's been down here before. He wrote the first study, so that's why Emily and I went with him. We can do that step. We can also hire right now.
Yeah.
It's great.
WRIGH.
Yeah. We can hire Wright Consulting as of right now to do the design and not do construction if you all want to until May, June. That way it's at the end of the budget. We can even wait till next July. get it in next year's budget and do the work then. Of course, we'll have to work with Emily's schedule to open 3 weeks or 4 weeks to do the work.
We
So
didn't hear anything until last Monday, and it's a lot of money. You're talking about
Correct.
$100,000.
It is a lot.
And we already put $75,000 a year toward financing the State Theater, which is, everybody loves the State Theater, but now you're talking about an additional maybe $100,000 this year. So it's not unreasonable to say, hey, what's wrong with another 2 weeks to talk about
There's
this?
nothing unreasonable
I mean,
at
is
all.
that?
Yeah,
Is there a reason that it was so fast?
we were just, the reason it was this fast was trying to get it in the window that Emily has available in January. That's the reason.
Oh,
So,
Right,
but
because,
if that
you know,
window's,
that's-
if as a body we say, hey, that window isn't where we want to be in June or July, then we can adjust that schedule.
Very hard.
And then,
June and July is just a very, very busy rental season. It's a very busy activity season. January is a very slow time for me.
we could do a year from January.
it will
Now,
take
I'm
probably-
I'm speaking for Emily now, so it's easy for me to
A
say.
year from January, though, I mean, it wouldn't, it's not.
It's another year.
Set in concrete, right?
And Mayor and the council, what I would suggest is that, we're waiting on a report now from some other paid consultants about downtown and the State Theater, all plays into the revitalization efforts of downtown. But, there could very well be some unexpected expenses that's going to be required of the city to get things rolling and to make things happen downtown. And to me, I think we just need to hold on this one, do some more due diligence, compare it with what we receive from our consultants on the rest of downtown, and then tie it all together and decide what our priorities are.
And again, I said, just step back and get these other, how we're going to pay for it, what comes with these other studies that we're doing, and that, it may be 2 weeks, it may be a month. I'm just saying, I don't see the rush in making that commitment today.
And I agree, but I guess I'm looking where money comes from.
Right.
Too. Budget amount is 2 something for downtown. That may be a source.
That could be, right, that good, yes, could be.
In other words, instead of requiring more money, maybe we have some freed up.
That's right, that's
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
Good point. But we can talk about, if we table it, we can talk about
We can
that.
talk about that then at the
Yeah,
work session.
right.
Okay. All right, so you have a motion and we have a second, right?
Yes,
And that motion is to table, and it's a second to
Right.
table.
That's right.
Discussion.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right, city council informational items. Last week, the city sold a house, and I want to thank Kenny and Marty and Rick Roby for handling that auction. And
Our super salesman, Jeff Hawkins.
Yeah, Jeff's the one that works on it.
Way to go, Jeff.
showing the house. You all have any information? Any items? Okay, anybody in the audience? Okay. We are going to close the meeting to conduct deliberation on future acquisition or sale of real property by the city and to discuss the general nature of existing and, possible litigation by the city. Motion to close the meeting.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right.
Did anybody want to see these before Mary?
Do I?
Did you all want to see these before?
No, I don't.
In fact, they just
Thank you
pointed
all
out-
very much.
They
15.
pointed out something, and I don't think they thought about it yet.
What color did you get?